your whole bike. Yeah, full carbon too. My ears are ringing over here.
The first ride on the full carbon H2R. Talking about supercharger gears, so I opened it up. The upper gearing has 25 teeth, which means it's stock because stage 1 goes from 25 to 24 gears on the supercharger. And that gives you, I believe, an extra 5% of horsepower.
So what's the boost percentage? What's stock boost, like 10, 8? PSI, do you know?
I have no idea. 5% more overdrive.
So this is 25 teeth?
This is 25 teeth. The upper gearing.
That's what the H2 comes with stock?
It should be.
I thought it had different gearing because they are.
No. That's why some people were saying, but I'm like, from what I know, the only difference is that this has cams. That's mainly what it is. It's the cams and the aero on it because the air filter is completely different. Like,
Right,
you know,
the intake too.
exactly, yeah. So the air intake, like box, all that, and the cams. It's a cammed bike.
'Cause
And of course, the full exhaust system and, you know, the basics.
your Procharger is red on this. It's not red on that.
It is.
It's red on the H2 as well.
Bro, you have all your info wrong about the H2 on this.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're the same.
I haven't really studied them.
Yeah, pretty much.
You rarely see them, so
Yeah, it's the same supercharger and everything.
it's just engine work then. Cams.
Cams, you know, the full exhaust system and the different air intake and all that.
Okay.
And obviously a different ECU.
Making way more power.
Different ECU, yeah. 100 more horsepower with those.
And do supercharger gears and a few things to turn it up.
Yes,
Which will turn up the boost.
yes.
Basically.
That's what I'm worried about, like after a couple pulls, because today's not like a cold day, but it's also not a warm day either. And I was concerned about that because I wanted to see my boost temps. One of the pulls we did was kind of a longer one on purpose, and I stayed in 5th, if you noticed. Not just like a pull and I pulled off. I stuck with it for a while, and I was mainly in 5th. Even though I wasn't fully pinned, but I was still like in 5th holding it, and then I went up to 6th. That's when I hit the 210. And the boost temps went up to 220.
Okay.
So I did some research, and apparently 240 and up, 250 is when it's like danger zone. So it's almost like the coolant temps, because that's also the same thing. Like I always say, like I don't want to go over 240. Like 230 is when I'm like, okay, I need to pull over.
Okay. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, but also it's like not as long as it's not prolonged. So people are saying like you can hit the 250, just don't hold it at that.
Yeah. Lay out, because as soon as you let off, all that air is going to be cooling it down.
Exactly, yeah. But none of these were top speed runs also at the same time. So I want to do a proper like 220 plus and see the boost temps, because if it hit that with this, I'm pretty sure
You know, it's crazy.
it's going to be up there at those speeds.
A little bit. It's like, I know we talked about it, but if you went E85, bro, it would bring all your temps down.
Yeah, I'm not doing 85. There's just no way. Not only I have to do a
100 octane's going to raise your temps, just so you know.
raise it.
It's going to burn hotter.
Oh, I thought it was going to do the opposite.
No, because you're not.
How is it equivalent to E85 then?
Well, because here's the thing, E85, it sprays more. So more
Okay.
liquid means it cools it more. That's why you get less fuel economy with it.
Yeah.
With unleaded or leaded, it's not going to be the same case. Just look into it though, because I know that they get hotter. The race fuels, they burn hotter.
I didn't know 100.
E85 is different because it's like an alcohol.
Yeah. I know it's not going to be like 85, but it's going to be, I thought it was going to be like cleaner than 91. Therefore, it'll help it run.
It's going to be a better fuel, but
Not if it's running hotter, because that's my main issue with this.
ethanol is just different because it sprays more fuel in.
I get it, yeah.
You know, so it cools things down.
Bro, I want something that is like, I can just go and like fill up. All that just sounds way too complicated. And plus, I can't let it sit, blah, blah, blah. It's like I've tried the E85 on my M1000. It's too much of a headache. It's not worth it at that point for me. Because like you were saying, it reduces your fuel by like 30%. So literally by the time I ride to the gas station, there's not many of them, E85 stations. By the time I ride there and I ride back, I have like 20 miles left of riding. It's just too much of a headache.
What racers do to keep temps down too in the upper cylinder, like so your boost temps getting hot, is they use water injection. It's like it's a little nozzle, and it sprays a fine mist of water,
Yeah.
and it basically cools the air charge down. And all you do is you literally pour water into a little tank, and it could either be automatic.
But that's the thing. Like somebody has to have, like if I haven't heard of it, that means nobody has a kit for that.
Well, I don't know about I know in the automotive industry it's pretty common.
For cars, probably not
For
bikes.
cars.
That's the thing. Like I feel like you do a lot of comparison to cars, and I feel like bikes are very different.
Here's the problem. There's like really only one bike that's supercharged.
What people do is the intercooler. That's just kind of the go-to. That's what everyone says you should do, just intercooler. But I also heard some people say that it makes the bike sluggish.
Well, just think of it, the air's got to go a longer route to get back in.
Yeah.
But it does cool the air. It's like a radiator for the air.
I don't really want to mess with something that is not properly backed up. So if I really want to cool it, I'll just run the intercooler. I have no choice at that point. Kind of those are the most common solutions. I don't want it to be like an experiment on an H2R. You know what I mean? I want to do stuff that are like already been done many times and studied and done right.
It wouldn't hurt to look into it. Maybe it's already been tried and tested and some dude that you haven't heard about has done it. Men, you know, these Isle of Man like racers and stuff, they do stuff like that. And that's
Yeah, but you can't compare to that. If you're comparing to like racers that race these things on the track, first of all, there's not many that race in H2R on the track. Second of all, these guys like run crazy setups because after every like race season, everything is torn apart and redone.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I need to find a balance of like, oh, I can just ride this and enjoy it, and at the same time make as much power as possible. You know what I mean?
I'm sure there is a kit for 85, and that would solve your problems big time.
If there is, I don't know. I'll look into that. If there's a E85, but same thing with my M1000. That's why I just told you like, the M1000 I don't even get like enough range on it. So imagine on this thing drinks.
But ask yourself, you would ride your M1000 anywhere, but this you only really ride specifically on special rides.
Which
you
is
probably wouldn't need. Really, would you need like the demand that the M1000 give you? Like, oh, I want to go to LA right now. You probably wouldn't. Like, I'm not going to LA.
I can't go to LA.
Right.
Even on the M1000, let alone this. That's the thing. You don't understand how limiting it is
Right.
to have 30% less fuel and you don't have any pumps. It's really annoying, dude. Have you ever ran E85 on your bike?
Not on my bike.
Bro, try it. I'm telling you, when you try it,
My Harley, I did it. I messed with it a little bit.
yeah, try running E85 for like a few days where you actually have to ride. It's horrible. There's no pumps anywhere. You run out of gas after like literally every half a ride. You can't go far places, and that's with a normal bike. This already drinks gas like way more than normal bikes.
I have an 85 gas finder, and it actually helps a lot.
I had that.
But I mean, if you're gonna ride that much, then okay. But if I just figured like with a bike this, you're only gonna ride it like.
But it doesn't matter because like I have to still go to a gas station. Like right now after this ride, I would have been already out. Then that means so I have to ride at least about 15-20 miles to a gas station. 15-20 miles back, already more than half of my tank is gone.
What kind of range does this get normally on gas? Because usually 85 is like 30, it's like 20 to 30%.
30%. Yeah, 30% less. This already gives me maybe 60, 70 miles.
Oh really?
Yeah. I mean on a normal bike, I get like 90 miles.
You're gonna put the smaller tank on it?
Yeah. But like I can fill up whenever I want to. Any place. And I don't have to worry about it sitting. That's the thing. I have gas stations everywhere. You know what I mean?
You know the answer to that is just having a map that can run both, like a flex fuel thing. And you can literally run both, so you can be like, hey, I want to ride hard and do pulls, and I don't want to go get too hot. Okay, I'm gonna switch my E85 map, and then you're like, hey, you know what? I'm good now. I need to go get gas. You just switch it to your octane map, and then you can just ride. I just was talking to a guy who had that selection on his bike.
On what bike though?
It was an older Gixxer.
It's different, dude. These platforms are different than this. Like Gixxers, there's a lot more ghetto setups, to be honest, which is the same. I've seen an H2 with like an aftermarket button too, and it just, I don't know. It's I don't want to do like a ghetto setup on an H2R. This is not a roll race bike. It's not like.
And there's no ride modes on it?
No modes. And even on modes, like BT Moto could have done an E85 mode on the M1000. It's not as easy done like you were thinking.
Sure, it probably works.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they did it, then it would be something they could offer to the public and make money on it.
It's a small market. Not many people are interested in stuff like this. That's even for me. That's why like you're trying to tell me about this. I don't really care that much because it's too much of a headache. I don't like dealing with inconvenience. That to me all sounds very inconvenient, and at that point it's not worth it.
It would be, right, if you're only on E85 and you had limited range. You could get something reliable and actually were able to run 2 maps, and it wasn't a Frankenstein thing. It was actually nice.
But then we go back to having a ghetto setup of having to have like a button where I can switch maps and all of that and wire all of that. Not only that, but also with E85 you can't really mix it with this. You're supposed to siphon this fuel out. So I have to like.
Or you could put. My girlfriend has one in her Avalanche, right, Chevy? She could put like however much gas she wants in the same tank as ethanol.
I get what you're saying, and I've seen that. Bro, I don't believe in that like whole conversion. This is so different from you're comparing to like an Avalon or, you know.
The fuel air ratio, timing, that all the principles.
I understand that it's a similar principle, but I think it's drastically. It's like saying, oh, I can do 100 miles an hour versus 200. There's so many different factors. They're both fast, but the factors are completely different because this thing is like pushing an insane amount of horsepower, small 4-cylinder that is supercharged that revs up to almost like 15,000 RPM. You know what I mean? I feel like it's completely different than, oh, I'm just a mom going to like go to work or something like that. So like
most of these technologies actually come from racing before they even get into the automotive.
Like with how many people have H2s and race them and all the builds and literally companies like Brock's based on bikes like this, they would have done something if, you know, all these options were actually proper options.
Or it's maybe still in development, but yeah, intercooler is definitely going to work. I mean, because like back in the day, they used to turbocharge cars and they didn't intercool them, and they had the same problem. And then they introduced intercooling, and it just helped tremendously with the boost range. I don't think it's going to make it that. I don't think it's going to be like, oh, this is sluggish now. I mean,
that's what I've heard. It's also it is like a big job and all that. So like I prefer not to. I don't even have fans on this thing. So you know what I mean. I prefer not to, but at the same time, it's also I want to do the supercharger gears. I'm gonna do stage 2 most likely, not stage 3, since this is at stage 0 technically. Stage 1 adds 5% overdrive. Stage 2 should add, I think, 9%. So 9%, I feel like that should put me at that like.
Because you're trying to hit top speed numbers, right? That's what you're going for.
Overall, but sure, yeah, top speed. I think top speed is low-key limited by the gearing, the actual like gearbox.
Well, yeah, that's true if you're hitting rev limiter in 6th gear with what you got, but if you can't even get to that.
I'm very close to it. It kind of like pulls back on the last gear, because I know it goes past the red line by like by 500. I'm not even like touching the red line. I'm getting close to the red line, so I know it has a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think it's all the factors at that speed, like aerodynamics and stuff like that.
Because my RC8, I had a gearing issue where I was actually redlining and bouncing off the limiter in 6th gear.
Yeah.
So I had to put a taller gearing on it.
You're talking about like not the sprockets. You're talking about the actual transmission.
No, my sprockets.
Oh, my sprockets are maxed out right now.
Yeah.
It's already as tall as possible. I'm talking about your transmission gearing.
No. I've been doing messing with gearing on my RC8 with sprockets, and I've been able to get more top end out of it without running out of motor.
No, yeah, I'm talking about my transmission. That's why I was like, what do you mean you just added? I was like, that sounds like a big job.
No, yeah, I haven't gotten into the I know you can change the gearing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
You need to change one gear really in the transmission.
Yeah.
Good, you know?
I've never done anything like that or seen anyone that does a project like that, so I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, my sprocket gearing's already maxed out for top speed. I can't go any like further.
Smaller?
Yeah. If I do smaller, I would have to change the whole hub.
Oh.
Yeah, the entire hub right here needs to be replaced, which I found a company that actually makes it. So it's still an option if if I put the gears on and I'm trying to push those crazy powers, that could be an option too. Theoretically, like as you saw, like even right now with how much it makes, like every gear I'm just fighting wheelies. So I could put an even smaller sprocket on the rear and have it even less.
That'll help a little bit,
yeah.
This is a crazy power for bikes,
Yeah.
You could try to lower the front a little bit more if you want to keep it. I know you probably don't want to stretch it.
No, yeah, I don't want to stretch it. I already lowered it enough where it doesn't hit, and if I lower it even more, then I'm going to have to replace the kickstand, which I don't want to do. Because I did that on my H2 and I hate the aftermarket kickstands.
Can you extend that
It could go a tiny bit further more, but because of the chain setup, this is as far as it can go. No, it helps for sure. Like before I put this sprocket setup, it was pushed all the way to the back, but with this current setup, it's at a weird spot where like it either needs to be backed up more or a little bit more forward like this. So, and because I can't back it up more, so I had to move it a little bit forward, just a tiny bit. It's not really much, but it'll probably help a little bit. I think it's like literally a couple millimeters. And I've never done a proper test, like top speed run. I want to take it to like a half a mile event or something, because they say, oh, even that is not long enough. I need like a proper mile, because the proper top speed, if you want to do proper top speed, you're not supposed to redline at every single gear. You're supposed to be short shifting every gear, like majorly short shifting, and then like go smooth on it, and on sixth, give it like full beans and slowly kind of pull out. Because apparently, it's the heat soaking. That's exactly what it is. So that's how you do a proper, exactly.
And you're already going to have to, if you don't have your intercooler, you don't have anything else going on, you're going to have to keep it on your tent.
Yeah, today was a warmer day, and that's why like I'm assuming the temps went up to pretty much like 220 of that. Like it was a really long pull, so that's why I was a little concerned about it today, especially if I raise up the boost temps. I don't want to do stage 3 because stage 3 increases it by 14%. So I think that's going to be a little too much without an intercooler. My whole theory, why I want to test, is because the H2R allows so much more air in, maybe that's good enough where it's not dangerous. It doesn't get to the danger zone. So it's almost similar like doing a stage 1 on an H2 with no intercooler. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my thought process.
Having an intercooler is going to really help because it's going to take that. So what happens is like, okay, the air comes in, right? Comes in into the turbo inlet. It gets compressed there.
Yeah.
And then it gets shot. Naturally, if you don't have this, then it gets shot through the intercooler. As the hot compressed air goes through the intercooler, cools down, and then goes into the motor.
Yeah.
Right now, it's going in, it gets squeezed real hot and gets shoved right
straight. Yeah. Which makes sense why it would be a little more sluggish if with an intercooler.
But, you know,
An extra route. 2 companies that make them, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, look into them.
So I don't know. We'll see. The whole point is that I want to avoid an intercooler, because that's pretty much. If I get an intercooler, I might as well do stage 3 and just go like all crazy on it. You know what I mean?
So trying to get the power you want without getting to the intercooler.
That's the goal.
In fueling is like.
It's a tricky one, but nobody has ever tried it on the H2R. There's no bike on the market that has as big of an intake as this. That's kind of my theory. That's why I want to test it. And obviously, if I do that, I have to be more mindful with my pulls, boost temps. Like, I'll keep an eye out and everything. And that's what I want to test. So that's the plan. I think I'm going to do stage 2.
I'm telling you, dude, like, I know you don't like the idea, but water injection, dude, is so easy.
Something that, like, isn't researched or done, I'm not down at all. Like, that to me, like, is a complete no-no, just because I'm not trying to do a science project on an H2R. Right. You know what I mean? That's too much of a unknown. So I'm trying to stick with like what's known and what's kind of like popular. I get what you're saying, dude. I understand like the science and all that. It's just like the fact that it's a no for me, just because like I don't want to try attempting that.
Yeah, you don't want to be the test mule.
Exactly. Exactly.
If someone's done it and it works, then that would be an option.
Exactly.
And it'd be a really cheap option. Water, it's just a real simple system. Someone just has to design the system that works. You know?
But that's also the point. Like, I'm not trying to like do a cheap option on this. I'm just trying to do the most lightweight, most powerful. Intercooler is going to add a lot of weight too. That's another thing.
I'm just assuming, I haven't researched, I'm assuming that 100 octane, like unleaded, is going to probably burn hotter.
Well, if that runs the bike hotter, then I probably won't do 100. I'll just keep it at 91 then.
But I know that there are maybe some...
I thought it's the other way around, but I'll definitely look into it a little bit. That's that. Now you guys know about the Supercharger gears. Turns out this has 25 teeth upper and I believe lower. I didn't check the lower, but I'm assuming since the upper is stock and that's the first stage for her to make more power with a Supercharger, so I'm assuming the lower is also stock. But yeah, that's how I can make more power. Is stage 1, I reduce a tooth. I think it's 24 for the upper, and then for stage 2, I believe, which I want to do. How you doing? Thank you, man. So I think stage 2 is 20. Yeah. So stage 1 is 24 upper, so just 1 tooth down, and that's it. Stage 2 is what I'm planning to do is 23 upper and 24 lower.
3 teeth.
Total, yeah. And stage 3, which is the most extreme, is 23. Yeah, 4 total teeth. But there's also a stage 4, but that one has a lot of like warnings and all that you have to reduce your RPM and all that because you'll have supercharger failure at stage 4. And nobody recommends it. Everyone says it's not good.
It's probably like a special racing.
It's a new thing, yeah. It's a new setup they have. It's also why I haven't added the fans yet. Just because I have the H2, I feel like I can ride the H2 and keep this as light as possible. You know, without doing crazy stuff like taking off bolts and shaving bolts. But you know, the bigger pieces. That's why I don't want. I'm iffy about the intercooler, iffy about the Raider guard. Huh?
Does it have a horn?
No horn. Yeah, no horn.
I took my horn
So
out.
yeah, well, we don't really use them. We just rev instead, and
Just like weight,
yeah,
a waste of shape weight.
exactly. So if it's something that is I don't use, that's fine. But like, you know, I'm not gonna take bolts off and shave bolts and do that.
Do you have a lithium battery?
Yeah, that's important, dude. That saves you like 5 pounds. Literally 5 pounds. It's crazy.
It's like, oh, but my lead acid battery works fine.
No, dude, 5 pounds is huge because these carbon side fairings saved me like a little over 2 pounds. I think it was about a pound a side.
Do you weigh it? How do you?
Yeah, I have a scale, so I weighed it. I mean, I did it for the aesthetics. I didn't think, because the other ones are plastics. I didn't think. Yeah, just for the video, and it ended up being actually like decent amount lighter. I think the OEM was like 1.5 pounds, and this is just 0.5 pound instead. So.
It's good to know these things because sometimes you don't really know.
Yeah.
Like how much weight? It adds up.
It adds up for sure. Yeah, with all the titanium and all that. I mean, this stock was at what, 475? Now it's definitely carbon wheels, of course. That's a huge one. So I know it's probably like I would say 460, 450 right now. So.
Oh, it'd be so nice to know.
Yeah, while having both rotors and all that. I have no rear brake though, which is kind of sketchy. Like nothing.
Oh, what's up with this? You need what?
Nothing. Well, I need to do a reservoir, so we'll just redo the whole thing. Next time I go to Mali, which could be tomorrow if you want to come. Yeah, I'm gonna rev it. Huh? Yeah, it has a full system. It's obnoxious.
That's what I like, dude.
You gotta do it like that. Gotta do it. Full system? Let's go. Yeah, this is Cam 2 as well, so yeah. It's not gonna sound like what you. Yeah. It's you're not gonna really notice a difference. Yeah, I notice a difference, but like it's not like a car where it's like, woof, woof. Yeah, it's not like that. But like compared to, yeah. Thank you, man.
Check your whole bike. You got full carbon too. Both, dude. I like the white blue.
Opposite colors, white and blue, black and green. Yep. Kinda. All right, go. Okay, that hurt my eardrums. I couldn't take anymore. That hurt my ears.
My ears are ringing over here.
Yeah. It's a little bit out of.
Want to see how it came out?
Nah, it's fine. I trust it. We can head back. She was a little cold, but sent it because we already started the video. Well, there you guys have it. I might split this into 2 videos. One video is just like doing the ride and all that with H2R, and then the second video after that is actually just talking about all the build plans and all that, or I might keep it as a very long video. I don't know, I'm still 50-50 about that, but regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please drop a like and subscribe. Another H2R video, and you guys know about like some of the build plans. Let me know in the comments if you guys have H2 knowledge. I know it's like most people have the H2 knowledge, not H2R knowledge. That's why it's a very kind of a tricky situation working on this thing and all that. But we'll see. I'm pretty sure we can figure it out. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you guys in the next one.